Lovely listeners and viewers, a very good afternoon to you. Yesterday, we whet your appetite a little about the program that is geared towards honoring Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. Today, in the studios of Radio Windy Bay, I have seated two eminent professors who have been with Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah before, and then the project and communication lead of SDEF. We're going to do the final lap of that discussion that we started yesterday. So I'll call you to call the others to also join us, have this very wonderful discussion. Professor George Dandy Damson, you're welcome to Studios of Radio Windy Bay.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Professor Hayford, how glad is it to have you once again in the studios? It's been a while though.
Sure. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Great. And Zara,
Yes.
we are here again.
We are here again.
Yes.
Here for the old prof.
And the program is yours, so please walk us and let they that missed out yesterday get a gist of it. Thereafter, I'll be going to Professor Damson and then Professor Hayford for them to tell us who the person Jophuas Anamuah is.
Thank you, and very good afternoon to your listeners. We walking us through the Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah Annual Public Lecture on TVET Transformation in Africa. This lecture is an initiative of the SDEF Foundation Africa in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education, or the TVET, because this is TVET. Also, we are working with TTEL. All institutions Prof has had affiliations with the University of Cape Coast, University of Education Winneba, Accra Technical University, USTED, that's University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development. We also have in Vice Chancellors Ghana, the National Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, and the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. These are the main collaborators, but Prof's touch is enormous. So we have all the Ministry of Education and its agencies represented, parastatal institutions, development partners. We have CSIR institutes. There are lots of organizations, home and abroad, that Prof have worked with. So tomorrow promises to be a very beautiful day in the city of Winneba, where we having everybody. As I said yesterday, it is Ghana coming to Winneba. So we're going to have Ghana from policy level to academia to industry, development partners, students, everybody will be here. It's an exciting moment that we celebrate the achievements, the contributions of Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah to our economy, Ghana, and to Africa at large, and also build a legacy in technical vocational education and training. These are the skills of today. We cannot live without TVET. You are hearing me because of TVET. We are able to do all the things we are doing because of TVET. So let's talk about TVET. How do we create jobs? Once we finish schools, how do we become self-sustained, self-employed? These are conversations that are going to happen tomorrow. And to walk us through a little bit, I won't say it all because it's going to be tomorrow.
So the sweetener of the pudding is in the eating.
It's in the
we should
eating.
just look at the surface and see what it is.
Scratch the surface. It's an international program. So we have the Minister for Education present. We have Vice Chancellors Ghana present, and former Vice Chancellors are going to be there. Vice Chancellors of technical universities are also coming. We're going to have the cream de la cream in academia. We have chancellors, we have all the people. I don't want to miss West on that. Then, in terms of development, the work we are doing is a United Nations work. Promoting TVET is a UN's priority agenda if you want to kill the skills gaps that we have, especially in our part of the world, where 1 in 4 of youth in the very near future is going to be African. We have to be prepared for the gaps ahead so that we can turn our fortunes around. We wouldn't be talking about graduate unemployment or underdevelopment or graduate gaps in our system, but we will have the requisite skills to meet up with the industrial needs that are coming up. So to help us walk us through discussing the topic of the day, it's no other but Professor Emeritus Clifford Niboy Tego, former Vice Chancellor of University of Ghana. He is a medical doctor, a surgeon, but an advocate of TVET and higher education transformation. He's a very good friend of Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. He's done a lot. We can hear more about him tomorrow. We also have a presentation from UNESCO in Paris, that is the mother UNESCO, from the Assistant Director General for Priority Africa and External Relations. He will be giving us a message. We have dignitaries coming from all walks of the world, from Africa and beyond. So the program is in two folds. The lecture, part one is the lecture, where the theme is TVET transformation in Africa, thought, leadership, and policy direction. After we are done and we set the agenda.
You know, Mama Sarah, you posted that the part two, we
Yes,
will come to it.
right.
Because that is a unique thing we are going to do for Prof. Anamuah-Mensah.
Great.
I know people don't know that it is a unique day for him. And we'll be talking about that one.
Wonderful.
After we hear our two profs talk about it, him first. Professor Samuel Hayford, I'm sure when it comes to inclusive education, once we bypass you, there is no other person we are going to talk to. As regard how you got into touch and got to know Prof. Anamuah, I'm sure our viewers and listeners out there would want to have a feel of it. Walk us through how you got to know Prof. Anamuah and who you know him to be.
Thank you so much. It all started when I was a young man at the Department of Special Education of this university. I think that was the very time that I gained the opportunity or had the opportunity to go outside to study for my doctorate degree. And that was virtually the time that we're transiting from segregation to inclusion. So the topic that I sent abroad was to look at those who are described as individuals with intellectual disabilities and how they can be included in our regular system. And Prof being the Vice Chancellor then, I think that time was the principal, offered me that opportunity to go because I was virtually going to lead with the research into how Ghana can move from segregation to inclusion. And therefore, as the Vice Chancellor of the institution, he gave me that opportunity and I went. And when I went and finished, I came back. He was still about exiting, but not gone. And let me say, this is a man who didn't weaponize his office in any way.
I didn't get that at all.
Weaponize, where people use their offices as a weapon to intimidate, suppress, and do all sorts of bad things. Mm-hmm. He's one among the few who do not do that. I'm saying it because of a background. He is somebody who is ready to offer opportunity to everybody. And so it was during his time that he felt our system, particularly if we want to do anything, we have to model it from home, because they say charity begins at home. And therefore, he will want to see a very strong department of special education at the University of Education whenever. And therefore, if people are going to pursue further education in that field, he will
Why not?
push them to go and come. And so I was the second. I wasn't the first. I was the second to go for PhD in special ed. But I was the first to do it in inclusive education. And the opportunity was given to me by this man that we are talking about, Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. And as I said, when we talk about him, it is about equity. When you talk about him, it is about inclusion. When you talk about him, it is about education reforms. And when you talk about him, it is about leadership in education. And that is the way I know this man to be. And I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to work with him, not only in the university, but even when we were putting together the program for teacher education, upgrading teacher education from 3-year to the 4-year B.Ed. He was the lead. And it is as a result of the 2007 education reform. And so you could see a direct link between his ideas for bringing to Ghana that reform, which we are all enjoying today. If our education system is going well today, it was as a result of that reform, which came to replace the Jobo Committee report. And so Prof. Anamuah has done a lot when it comes to education and institutional leadership. And let me pause here. As time goes on, we will reveal some of those details of what he brought about as a result of his leadership.
Moments with him.
Yeah.
We'll be coming to that one from you.
Sure.
Professor Dodson.
Yeah.
What is your experience like with him?
Thank you, Prof, wherever you are. I adore you so much, and you've been a role model to some of us. Mine will be in 3 stages. The first stage, which I call the germination stage, is when I was at University Primary School, as a boy in the primary school. We were there, and then somebody was admitted, and the name was Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. Who is this person? At that time, I think Prof had come from the studies abroad, so he came down with the family. And this young girl also became my classmate. And as inquisitive as we are, as boys as we are at that time, I don't remember, is it class 4, class 5, or something like that at University Primary School.
In Cape Coast?
Yes, in Cape Coast, right. University Primary School. So we tend to know, we were about 30 in the class, and I can remember, I can make mention of about 20, because we know ourselves and we know everyone. And I got to know Jophuas very quiet, with the slangs, because she just came from outside. And then everybody wanted to get around and find out. And I got to know that the dad is a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. The dad used to pick them. And then the first time I met the dad, I saw a very huge, deep voice, cultured man, well-dressed, picking them up. I got close to them, and then I even know where they stayed on UCC campus. Fast forwarding, the second stage, I never knew I would meet Professor Anamuah-Mensah again. And after my studies at the University of Northampton in the UK, I really wanted to come back home. After doing all those donkey jobs and surviving, I applied to University of Cape Coast and University College of Education, Winneba. So I was there one day and I had a call, and the call was deep. Are you Mr. Dandy George Thompson? I said, yes. We have received your application, and you have to come for an interview if you are ready. I said, I'm ready. So I have to pack. I wasn't ready then. It was just taking the opportunity as it comes. So I knew that I had a visa, that if I come and things don't go well, I can go back and continue on surviving. So I had wanted the interview to be a bit earlier before my visa expired. So I pushed it up, and he agreed. Fast forwarding, I came to Ghana. I wasn't prepared. With my master's, I just wanted to come and teach. So at the South Campus, I was called for an interview where the deans and the HODs were there. And then when he walked in, I remembered the face. The voice hasn't changed, but has evolved into more thick, commanding, respectable voice. And the voice alone can, bring shivers if you have met him for the first time. He commands respect. So he came in, fast forwarding, we had the interview. And I knew from the interview, and that goes with what Professor Hayford said, offices should not be used to intimidate and to do other things. As a vice chancellor, everybody is a potential vice chancellor. He said, after the interview, when I went out and then they deliberate, he said, young man, I'm not much impressed about your interview. However, we're going to give you an opportunity to make yourself better in this university. And I have never forgotten that. I haven't forgotten that. And the other time we met, that was, I visited him on the 31st of January or 31st of December or 1st January, just this year. I'd wanted to pay him a visit. And I told him that, Prof, there's something I haven't told you before, but I'm telling you today. When I came for the interview that day to become a lecturer, I knew from myself that I didn't do well, but he gave me opportunity. And the opportunity that you gave to some of us is what is making me what I am today. And I'm so glad. And he bowed down the head, and he could feel that, yes, he's a true leader. I'll pause here and come back with when after going through and then having my letter, the things that went on. Thank you.
Taking it from the point of opportunity, maybe I'm also one of the persons that got that opportunity. Though I'm not a discussant, I will join into the discussion this time around. So as a student of arts education here, we were the guinea pigs for the 4-year teacher education. So we went out for 1 year. Out segment it was, Prof. am I right? Yeah. Out segment. But it wasn't teaching practice, it was out segment for 1 year.
In, out.
So I had finished and then was doing my teaching at Accra Girls Secondary School. Then I received a call from HR. Please come and pick an application form and complete. So wow. So I got in, completed the application forms. Said, the Vice Chancellor, I want to see you if you come. So I climbed up. Walked to Prof. I said, Collins, you are welcome. I want you to come and work in the radio station. Who am I to say no? So if Collins is into radio today, it is because of Prof. Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So let me get to Mama Sarah now. Then we'll walk through the second part. For those of you who are not aware, tomorrow is a unique day in the life of Prof. Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. And I want to believe that it was for that unique reason as they fixed the lecture on that day. Mama Sarah, am I right?
Very right.
Then spill the beans.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow, 27th March, is the birthday of Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. And this lecture could not have been fixed in any ordinary day than his birthday. We all know from what we've heard so far, I believe if everybody should get the opportunity, I think today we wouldn't end the show. We will talk and talk and talk about the personality of Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. So when we are done with the lecture, then we move to the part 2, which is honoring a lifetime of leadership in education and national development. It is a celebration period. We will have people from all walks of life coming to tell us briefly. You know, if we want to open the day, I believe the hall will not be enough for us, and we wouldn't get time to close the program. Briefly, their reflection about his leadership style, his lifestyle, and a lot of things. So we will have people from academia, from policy, from industry, from across Africa, giving up something about Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. And also we will have, of course, a citation in his honor. So Prof cannot be put on the paper, but the organizers have really tried. Because if we want to put him on paper, we'll be short of words, will not be enough for us to put him on paper. And after that, also, we will be coming to an end. So it's more of a celebratory activity for the part 2. And it's an opportunity for me, it's an opportunity to reflect and ask myself questions. And I believe our listeners will also do that. Ask yourself questions. What will the world say about me? All the things that I've done. Why should I be celebrated? You know, we are marking our scripts every day by our relationships and all this. One thing I've seen in our part of the world is those in entertainment know how to do it best. They celebrate their legends. They make noise about them. So you see legends nights, legends whatever, legends birthdays. But people in academia, people who contribute to policy work, I remember the late Professor Alote told me that academia is a very lonely place. As soon as you retire, everybody forgets you. We don't want Prof to die, and then we do things flamboyantly, talking so much good things about him. He wouldn't hear. It will be nice, but the impact will not be felt. Whilst he's alive and very strong, let us celebrate him. Let the young ones come in also learn what it means to do public service, what it means to be a good leader, what it means to be an impact, an intentional leader, nurturing people. The people Prof have nurtured, they are many. Even the little we've heard from Prof Dandy, Prof Hayford, tells us that he is somebody to be revered, somebody to be honored. So come and let's celebrate our hero. And for us here in Winneba, it is an opportunity to see. We pass the Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah conference hall every day. Who is this Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah? And a lot is happening. He's done a lot. Yesterday I mentioned he's a chemist. Yes, education chemist. But why into all this, into TVET, early childhood, special education? He is somebody who believes that knowledge is not restricted. Therefore, the fact that I read chemistry or I read English doesn't mean I cannot contribute to other spheres. And that is the nature of his friend giving the keynotes. He is a surgeon, but so much interested in national policies, national reforms. So let's all come in our numbers. Let us come and meet and greet, see people behind some of the things we hear, we see on screen, and also network, because in our part of the world, the order is collaboration and networking. You cannot remain in isolation. You have to be part of a team and be part of a winning team. Thank you.
Be part of the team and part of that winning team. It is a birthday celebration for the legend, in fact, the living legend, Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah. Let's get the second part, Professor Hayford. You and Prof. Anamuah, the nitty-gritties that you wanted us to get, that you held on the first time.
Right. When you go back into history, you begin to appreciate where our education system is now leveraged. I think when Winneba transited to an autonomous institution, this man then decided on the model that we have to pursue, which will be different from any other university, particularly the one that nurtured us, University of Cape Coast. And so if you look at the setup of Winneba, it's quite different from the setup of University of Cape Coast. This time Cape Coast has diverted and gone into other areas, but still the foundation. Because of the position he held as the chairman of the committee that reformed education, he used that as a basis to support this young university to model education in such a way that the structure that was in place or put in place was followed through at this place. And that is why we had, or we still have, a department for early childhood, a department for basic education, and within basic education we have the three specialization or specialism, like primary, like junior high. And so you will see that this is a human being who scheme, and after scheming, try to operationalize what he has in mind.
Well, sorry, I'm going to break through. I remember when we started that program, it was early childhood care and development.
Yes.
But it's gone through a lot of evolution.
Sure.
And it looks like it's coming back to the same thing.
You see, the funny thing is this. When you want to look at how to prepare children into formal education, you don't know where to start from. You don't know where to start from because parents now are all working parents. And therefore, at a very tender age, mom is going to work, dad is going to work. Will you want to leave the child who you treasure so much with a house help, who you doubt the capability of nurturing that whilst you are not there? But if we have a system where we have professionals who can handle that child at that age, you prefer to send the child there. And that is why we are so struggling to disengage that aspect from the formal system. And so in a way, we say education itself, the formal one starts from the 2-year kindergarten, whatever. But there is still the nursery component. And even lower, whereby we say social welfare should take that component of the development child care, and then the Ministry of Education will take the component started from the KG. Having said that, did you know or have you heard of psychot? You see, there is this notion about the man we are talking about who felt science should not be taught as if it is a foreign.
Sarkost, right?
Sarkost.
Great.
It should not be taught as a foreign subject. We should teach science in such a way that the Ghanaian child will appreciate that science is everything that we do at home. And therefore, traditional means of teaching science was one of his focus. And he did it so much so that
Passionately.
we started having a setup within our institution which was also championed that course. And so science, at a point, we were even going to look at indigenous science as a program. But for accreditation purpose, it didn't go through. Yeah. However, the teaching of science as I know now, whereby we try to use local means to teach science, is one of his ideas. Same thing with the way teachers are trained. He said, no, you see, our training of teachers was too haphazard and unprofessional. If we want to make teachers or teaching a profession, then teachers must be licensed. There should be standardization. And these are part of this man's creation. That is why this time around we have teachers who can get their certificate, the BEd, and step out of Ghana and still have job to do because they are recognized as international teachers. And so he's that big giant when it comes to education. And some of us, we learn from his calmness. I tell you, in one state, when we were putting together the new curriculum, for instance, something happened and there was confusion all over the place. So who to turn to? Prof walked in, and the calmness he received the information, and he went about resolving. Before we see Jack, we were continuing with our work, and as if nothing had happened. That is the man we're going to celebrate tomorrow. He is the man who was never or is never moved by anything. Nothing will shake him, because he believes and has the confidence in whatever he does. And that is what he has bestowed onto us. Thank you very much.
He is one person I know believes in calmness and attitudes. That I can vouch for. Prof. Dandy, the third leg.
Thanks very much. I think UEW should be blessed to have such a man, because we are using his logo all over the place. And even if it's possible, we need to be given something in return. Yes? Because when you step outside Ghana, for which I have so many collaboration with German universities, there is none of my presentation that I've made in about 7 universities in Germany that his work, his name had never appeared. Nonetheless, I will limit my, my section with leadership, because I'm a professor in leadership. I am lucky to have experienced about 7 vice chancellors over the period since I've been here. Professor Anamuah-Mensah is unique. He is so unique that his leadership qualities are never found in any book. But I got to know just recently, when I visited him, that I got to know why he is exceptional. So I'll go back a bit and come back to the leadership, especially within the university setting and then the other places that we've met. As I indicated previously, I met him. He likes me. He called me Dandy. Dandy, I went for. Prof. Mpachamo. We talk a lot. And then I visited him with my family. And then I want the family to know who was behind the Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah's committee for our educational reform. And a very humble person. When I called him, said, "Oh, Prof, come. I'm sleeping, but I'm awake." So we sat down. I wanted, because he was my role model and he is my role model, I never thought to become a professor. Not so quick like that. So I really wanted to learn so much. So I asked him some questions which are very private. And then he threw the question back to me. And then I answered. And I also asked him, said, "Prof, you know something? Let me share a story with you. And I want people to, I don't know if people are aware of that." I said, "Prof, me coming," we were talking about leadership and stuff. And I said, "Me coming to Winneba was a call." I said, "Wow." So let me tell you a gist of it. I was destined on a huge project to South Africa from UCC. That was quite huge till the government said, "I want you to go to UEW." I didn't know much about UEW. So I came to find out. But then the other consultancy job, which was quite huge for over 10 years, was also calling me. So I told God, "Tell me where I have to be." And to be very honest with you, that consultancy job was huge sums of money. And I think this time nobody would have come here, because if you're going to be paid double or 10 times your salary here, your family will be paid, your wife and everything, who would love to be here. He was sharing this with me, and I was quietly listening. I said, "God, show me where I have to be, because I'm in a dilemma." Fast forwarding, he came here, and he said that the first time they organized the church service, he was asked to preach. So after preaching, a lot of people around the South Campus Assembly Hall all came in and they started repenting. Then he said that, "This is my home." And that is the other aspect of leadership that people don't know much about Professor Anamuah-Mensah. And
highly religious.
Highly religious. Highly religious. We have so many good leaders, but that niche hasn't been there. And that has made him what he is today. Back to UEW, his leadership was exceptional. He would be coming to your lecture hall. He would be walking around. He really wanted University of Education, Winneba, after exiting from UCC. He really wanted University of Education, Winneba, to be at the highest level, internationally competing. And this place was very dear to him. So he would come to the lecture hall, and I remember one day I was lecturing at the North Assembly Hall here, and then somebody was there. I turned and I saw Prof. And when you see your VC there, after lectures, he called me, said, "Young man, you are not going to teach forever. You need to look for further education opportunities." I love the teaching. With my master's, I would teach and get some money. I would sell my books and get some money. So that was what I was thinking about. And that kind of leadership goes beyond boundaries. How many leaders will get up and motivate the young ones to really seek for further and higher levels? Apart from that, University of Education under Professor Anamuah-Mensah, although it wasn't big and huge as it used to be, was a humble abode. And my years over and over all the vice chancellors, I would never forget during the time of Professor Anamuah-Mensah because of his leadership qualities. Notwithstanding that, after him exiting, we met on TTEL projects. And I remember I went for my breakfast late at the hotel. So when I went there, he was sitting alone eating. So I picked mine. He's my big boss, you know. So I picked mine, and then I wanted to sit somewhere. Dandy, brah, come and sit with me. That is a hallmark of a leader. He always wants you to get closer. He always wants you to share your experiences and his experiences. And I learned a lot during the breakfast time. The leadership qualities were there, humble, quiet, and he would never tell you, one of the things I've learned so much, he would never tell you are wrong. So sometimes when you are having a chat with him, you don't know whether you are right or wrong, because some will point to you, no, this. He always look at the weakness in your conversation and turn it around to keep on asking you questions. And that is of Professor Anamuah-Mensah.
So it builds you up to reason.
Exactly, critical thinking. Lastly, I think just a year or two ago, we were working on how we will be able to design our courses and teach them, like the course aligned section, and I was part of it. And we all got stuck. So he was sitting there listening. Then he called me, "Dandy, brah." So I moved away from my friends. I sat with him. And he was trying to converge his ideas with my ideas. So after we spoke for about 5-10 minutes, I said, we can do something. These are the hallmark of a leader. A leader who doesn't sit up there to give instructions. A leader who brings you on board and regard and respect and integrate every decision that you make. And I'll keep saying again that UEW should hold Prof in high esteem, because I know from where I have been going that with his name attached to UEW, whatever we seek for will be granted. Thank you.
Whatever we seek for with the name of Prof. Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah attached, trust UEW, you will get it. Those are the words of Professor Dandy George Damson. We'll take a short break. When we come back, then we'll be doing the final laps, and then we'll drop the curtains on this very discussion. But let me tell you that the event itself is for tomorrow, 11 a.m. sharp. 11 a.m. is 11 a.m. You are there a bit late, you may not find a place to sit, because the numbers are coming from far and near, and you need to secure your seat early enough. We'll be back after this short break. So I welcome you back from that short break, and this is the final lap. We'll have our guests talk to us and give us, I don't know if I should call it an altar call. I'll start with Professor Samuel Hayford. Prof, your wrap-up statement for all that we have had to talk about Professor Jophuas Anamuah-Mensah.
Thank you. I think a lot of teachers who are teaching, whether in Ghana or maybe abroad, owe a lot to Prof. Particularly those who, in real terms, would not have gotten the opportunity to come into residence and then offer the program. And when
You mean those who admit via distance?
So what I'm talking about is the distance learning. This man, knowing so much about the education system and teacher in particular, felt we needed to speed up the process of training teachers. Once he has restructured the system, we have to get the manpower. And so he reinforced what we call the distance education component, which is now CODEL because we have added the e-learning. By the distance education program, a lot of study centers were cited at places where he felt there were a lot of people teachers. And you cannot bring these people teachers to campus because they will lose their job. He didn't want them to lose their job. He didn't want the children to suffer. And so he felt the best option was to expand distance learning, whereby teachers will be trained to retain their jobs and then support children. And so the expansion of distance learning in Winneba was as a result of the foresight and the vision of this transformative personality we are talking about. And I remember those days when I used to go to the Tamale Center. I opened the Tamale Study Center. And then a few others joined me. And one of our products even became the first PhD holder in mathematics by distance. Yes, he was one of our pioneers in that study center. And so when you talk about Prof. Anamuah, you are talking about somebody who did not allow his knowledge to deceive people. He didn't let people see him as somebody that is fearful. Rather, he appeared in the form of Christ, who being God, took up human nature. And so this is a colossal individual in education. Yes, sir, when you meet him, he's ordinary.
As simple as the word.
And that is what I want to leave with my listeners this afternoon. No matter what he has achieved, he is still that person who opens his door to receive anybody, regardless of your gender, your status in society, your academic background, or your wealth. Prof will receive you and listen to you. And as Dandy said, he is not going to question you, and he will try to open up an avenue for you to reflect upon what you present, and together you find solutions. That is Prof. And I will urge those listening and watching that if you have the opportunity, come and meet him personally, and you will testify to what I'm saying. Thank you very much.
You need to meet him personally, and then you will be testifying to what Professor Hayford has said. I will be sharing that experience with you, but that will be before we go down. Prof. Dandy.
Yeah, thank you. Prof. Anamuah-Mensah made me believe that the adage, the sky is the limit, belonged to 19th century. In the 21st century, heaven is the limit. Because if you have flown in a plane before, you see the skies beneath. So if you get to the skies, then what next? Heaven is the limit. His leadership is infectious and endless. I say this because he has impacted on so many lives, both spiritually, physically, academically, as well as economically. Economically, I'm here because of him. Academically, I am a professor because of him. He gave me hope that even when you come for an interview and you don't perform well, and he sees beyond what other people see.
Exactly.
I told him, Prof, what did you see in me? Because I knew for sure I wasn't prepared. He said, young man, I'm going to give you an opportunity to redeem yourself. I wish all vice chancellors and people who sit on the table see beyond the academic papers that are brought to them. And you can only do that when you have that leadership qualities as Professor Anamuah-Mensah had. I'll conclude by tying his leadership to one very guru. I always made mention of his definition for leadership, and it's Gardner, 1995. Gardner says that a leader is the one who affects the thoughts, the behavior, and the actions of people. Not only that, he is the one who bridges the gap between the vision and the familiar, and the person who will be able to walk alone when others don't believe in success. Professor Anamuah-Mensah is the epitome of that. He affected the thought, he affected the behavior, and he has affected the actions of this foundation of University of Education, Winneba. Not only that, his vision was above the skies. And he has been able to bridge what was the familiar with what the vision ought to be. And let me tell you, and let me share with our audience, that anytime he sees me, he asks me, Prof, then. That is a person who had left this university for a long time, and he keeps having that heart here because his foundation is here. He is the Kwame Nkrumah of UW. And lastly, with the definition of Gardner, the last part, he walked alone. He fought for the Carnegie $3.1 million dollar. In those days, in these days, it's going to be about $30 million. And that started the foundation of this university. Our quality assurance, our IT section, and all the distance came from, and many. So he has affected the thought of people here. And I am part of it. And he has affected the actions of people. And I am part of it. I am a transformational leader like him, but I'm trying to make sure that that God aspect is also there, so that you can lead for so many years. Without that, you cannot lead for so many years. So Professor Anamuah-Mensah, happy birthday tomorrow. We're going to see you. May God bless you. We hope that you'll be with us for the next centuries to come. Thank you.
I will not dare attempt to wrap up what you said, because it's deep, extremely deep. Mama Sarah, your final thought.
Thank you. Reflecting what my two professors have said, talking about Professor Anamuah-Mensah, UEW. I worked with Professor Anamuah-Mensah outside UEW, but everything works out in totality. His spirituality is enviable. You go for a meeting with Prof in international company, we didn't call the meeting. It is somebody's meeting. We are the ones going. Then you take the lead. Shall we pray? Then we used to have this reform with the Ministry of Education. All the agencies under the ministry, they sign performance contracting with the minister. So at the end of the year, we have a review of performance contracting, what you said versus what you achieved, and the gaps. We will sit for, sometimes you don't have time, 4 days to review all the agencies' work. Huge documentation. Prof never slept 1 page. And agency by agency, if we are taking 4 agencies in a day, it doesn't matter whether we prayed when we started the first one. Everybody is different. We will pray. And agencies will not live without having a reference point. He will listen and will tell you, oh, have you approached this donor agency? I think talk to these people. This one can help. This one. So agencies look forward to appraisal period, because even if you don't have any money, Professor Anamuah-Mensah will help you think. And what amazes me about Prof is he cuts across. Now you can't say whether he's in education or he's where or he's where. His wisdom is so deep and his patience is so loud. He will have time for you to talk all the things you want to talk. At a point in time, if you are an agency under the ministry, you cannot slack, because you have to come and meet Professor Anamuah-Mensah. And he will have time for you. 2 hours, 3 hours with one agency, trying to walk you through performance contracting, recommending to you professional programs you can take as CEO, and also build the capacity of your people. And this is something I have jealously looked up and adopted. He's not selfish, so selfless. He will give it all out for you. So, Prof, words are not enough to describe this man. He is one of a kind. Where I come from, we say Yenya also. But UEW If I were UEW, we will have Anamuah-Mensah Day every day. Because Anamuah-Mensah's name, as Prof has said, it opens doors. If you know him, if you mention his name, it calms nerves for you. And you cannot be with him without growing. Whether you like it or not, you will grow. That is Prof.
Whether you like it or not, you will grow. That is Prof. And you know, making mention of Carnegie Project. That was when you realized that this man was a strong man. When deadlines are approaching, nobody sleeps. You might think he is going to sleep. 2 or 3 hours to the time is there. How far are we? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you checked this? Have you checked that? That is the man. He walks through the process with you till the end. So don't get surprised that some of us would always want to walk through the process with you till the end. That is the personality we are celebrating tomorrow. Be there and be part of this celebration. I want to say a very big thank you to all that have been on the set. Professor Damson, thank you for passing through. Professor Hayford, thank you so much for passing through. Mama Sarah, SDEF, Yadase. My name is Colin Salko, and on behalf of the technical crew, led by Osman Mumunim, I say thank you very, very much for making this production a success. And come tomorrow, we all will be in the grounds there to have that event come on. Thank you once again for doing the listening and viewing. We are out of the session again.